Oh, thank you. Should I use this instead? That one captures, and then that one is gonna. Okay. All right, good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here today. My name is Rochelle Lynn, and I am the founder of Just Happy Hours, which is an app that comes out this month, actually. So I'm very excited to get that out into the marketplace and start working on testing and getting feedback. Let's see. So what is the Just Happy Hours app? The purpose of the app is to help people meet people at happy hour. So in that sense, it functions kind of like a meetup. You sign up for or create happy hours. People in that area get notified of happy hours and can sign up to attend them and meet new people. It's also a way for restaurants to increase revenue, particularly during a time that they're counting on. 30% of restaurant revenue actually comes from happy hours. And a third piece of it is to generate a database that's not currently available in the market, and that speaks to the greatest revenue generation portion of the app. It tells which restaurants serve alcohol, whether they have full bars, just beer and wine, just beer, just wine, etc. And also will contain information about events that's not currently available. Whoops. So what types of problems are we solving with the Happy Hour app? Well, I do run a Happy Hour meetup group in Ocala. There are about 300 people in the group. Between 8 and 35 people show up at each happy hour. We do them about twice a month. So that has illustrated to me the difficulty that people have of meeting new people, especially when they're in life transitions, which we'll talk about in just a moment. It also helps with the competitive challenge for restaurants. I don't know if you've ever been to Ocala or driven through it, but per capita, there's almost more restaurants than there are people. So they're competing very much for the revenue that's generated by people who dine out. And there's also a lack of these complete databases in the market, which I actually found out after I had started the development of the app and decided to make that user-generated database part of our revenue stream. So our solutions are to create the happy hour events, as we talked about, to help restaurants increase, give them a place to market, another channel to market on, and help them increase revenue from new guests and also from guests that come to happy hour that just wouldn't be out that night. And typically our happy hour guests do order not just drinks but dinners, so they're actually increasing along several channels for them. And then also to be able to leverage those databases with that bar and happy hour info, as I mentioned earlier. This is user-generated, meaning that people who have profiles on the app are both end users and restaurant and bar managers. So they're the ones that input the information about the app. Our target market is different from what a lot of people expect. They may think that we're targeting younger people who are out partying. Typically, the people who are at these happy hours are not the party animal type. There's occasionally some there, but mostly they're there to meet friends and build a community after a life in transition, and that they tend to skew most times into the group between the ages of 40 and 54. They tend to skew a bit higher income and having quite a bit of time on their hands. Perhaps their jobs are not the rat race that they once were, or they're even semi-retired or retired. The competitive landscape for Just Happy Hours is, as we mentioned, a meetup. Our solution improves over Meetup because it's free for everyone and everyone can be a creator of events. Whereas on Meetup, there's one organizer and they're charged a monthly charge based on how many people are in the group. We also have a more narrow focus, obviously, than Meetup, which has lots and lots of different types of events. That tends to help people just select one and go, or create one and go, versus having to wait for an event to come around or browse through long lists trying to find something that they might be interested in. OpenTable is another competitor. You can make reservations through the app at restaurants, but there's no event set up. So in that sense, Just Happy Hours does differ from OpenTable. OpenTable is also very expensive. So if it's a smaller restaurant operating on very thin margins, it'll be tough for them to afford OpenTable, or perhaps they can afford it, but they don't see much return on investment from it. And OpenTable involves a lot of vendor control. Just Happy Hours really doesn't get into all that. It's put your restaurant listing on the app, promote it on the app, promote your special events, and that's it. Oh, and then I'm sorry, and Scout is, actually it does appeal more to a younger crowd, I think, in general, but Scout is for people meeting people anywhere in the world, so mostly on chat, and we do not get into that. We do not get into messaging. Messages can sometimes be inappropriate. We don't get into that, and we don't appeal to a teen market. Our sales channels are the typical app stores, our web application, and we'll be going through the process to get into the app stores after we complete our beta testing, which will start this month. Our our marketing activities have been ongoing. We've been working on developing an audience for the Just Happy Hours app for about 6 months now. We have all these activities going on, and next integration on the app will be our point system that allows people who are updating the happy hour events, happy hour times, happy hour specials to earn points towards gift cards that they can then use when they set up their happy hours. And our milestones, I've been in meetings lately with a lot of attorneys because I have been approached by an investor group, and so that's led to some attorney meetings, talking to different organizations about potential partnerships, going out and presenting to get feedback and refine the app before we get it out there. Gold memberships are premier memberships for restaurants. Those will eventually be, by the end of the year, will be a revenue generating item that allows restaurants to have an upgraded profile within the app. Presenting also next week in St. Pete, and then of course at the end of the month have the beta version of the app released. So I look forward to your questions.
Have you attempted to get a trademark certificate?
Yes, I have met with a patent attorney. Most of what occurs with apps can't be patented. It can be trademarked, so we are in the process of trademarking now. But as far as patents go, there's not anybody could pick that,
Right,
you know, and run after that if they want to go through all the expense of programming
There's
it.
no one that has it right now, right?
Well, there is nobody in the market that seems to have this information. However, if they did, we wouldn't be infringing on their patent, and they wouldn't be infringing on ours by going after the same information, whether it was through the same type of mechanism or not. Does that make sense? Okay.
So revenue is generated from bars, restaurants, hospitals?
Yes, so through in-app advertising, which the end user sees, through the gold memberships with restaurants. Standard memberships for restaurants are free, but they can get a listing that will list their late night happy hours, special events. So for example, it also allows them to create their own events. They get listed higher in search results on the app. And for example, let's say they're having a fight night. Some restaurants will have those, and then they'll charge money for seats. They can set up those events. Say a bartender has a really super slow Tuesday and they're not looking forward to another one. They could set up an event. Hey, come see me, send it out in notification to the people on the app. And then the third revenue generation piece is, of course, the database, which that will be leased because the database has to be continually updated versus a one-time purchase. Yes.
Do a geographic rollout plan for different market spaces in Pensacola?
Yeah, so that is an important piece because we want the database to function before we get that out there. So we have 12 rollout cities. Ocala is one of them, primarily because I'm there and know people and can kind of nag them into testing if needed. But we are rolling out in mostly larger cities, Austin, Los Angeles. We were going to roll out in Boston, but it turns out Massachusetts bans happy hours, which has been one of our challenges to business that we've had to look for. Luckily, not too many states do that. Rolling out in Nashville, Seattle, Portland, several other cities. Yeah.
Could you speak to the creative content component for a restaurant or a bar in the context of, is that something they provide, or do you provide it, and how robust is the platform in terms of the types of content?
Yeah, so that's a big piece of it. And so right now the restaurant, they can obviously fill in their name and address and phone number information, but that we can get by going through an API, which is just us communicating with Google Maps or Foursquare. So that was the first piece that we kind of looked at. To obviously make it valuable in the context of happy hours, somebody has to complete the information about the happy hour, what the hours are, what the days, what the specials are for both food and drink. So the restaurant can either take care of that, or they can rely on users to generate that content. And that way we don't have the problem of trying to race after everybody to get them to update their listing. For example, when their menus change, a user can take care of that and earn points toward a gift card. So once they have a gold membership, then that's when their listing actually expands. They could talk about their late night happy hours, talk about the special events that we mentioned earlier.
Since it seems like there's a lot of happy hour apps out there targeting different age groups, and looking at a few of them, there's a lot of liquor companies that are partnering with those apps in order to push out a certain brand release or something like that. So if you're targeting a more mature audience, so to speak, you ever think of targeting like a company that might want to push out a more expensive brand?
Yeah, yes, that is something that we've thought about. The partnerships, we're in the process of working through the business plan. So I don't know how many people have done a business plan. It's one of the most agonizing things I've ever done in my life. But it's selecting that strategy and then moving forward on that strategy without branching off into all the other amazing ideas you come across is the challenge that we're kind of going through now. But that is something we're looking at, is how to monetize it in such a way that even that the in-app advertising makes more sense for a user base, just because of the assumption some people have, and even some vendors probably will have, that we're trying to appeal to very young people.
Does Massachusetts allow wine tasting?
That I would have to find out. They don't have anything. I did leave them in the app as an outlier because I want to find something for Boston, because Boston is an amazing city. But they don't allow anything that where it sounds like people are going to be drinking. You're encouraging them to drink a lot at once, is the way so I'm not sure about wine tastings. Yeah, there's some states that have a very conservative outlook towards it. There's, like I said, it was a relief to me to find that it wasn't. I mean, that's what happens when you start a business. You run into all these potential pitfalls, and that was something I worried about when I found even one that does not do happy hours.
There are some microbreweries and wineries in Massachusetts. Get around that one.
Okay, all right. I figured there would be. That's why I didn't take them out of the app.
Your marketing approach for your target cities, is that going to be outsourced or franchised?
That's another piece that we're working on, because I've been bootstrapping this since November. So I've been investing my own funds in all the development and in the marketing, and that means I have been outsourcing as much as possible. However, I want to bring some of that inside, because especially with my marketing person, we pretty much need to be almost joined at the hip to get through, especially the first year or two. And then I'm not sure we'll continue outsourcing development either.
What inspired your entrepreneur journey, and have you started other companies?
Yes, I've failed many times. I've mostly tried, most of the companies that I've tried to create have not been about even an intangible product or service. They've been about me and, like my marketing abilities and my and writing. Back in the day when SEO was first starting, I was working as a consultant. But I had trouble marketing myself and having time to do the work. I didn't have enough to really make the business. I didn't have a way to make the business scalable and automated and grow it. And those are the pieces, as I've gotten further along in my career, I think I've gotten a little bit more intelligent about that, and so I'm trying to integrate that and this time, make a lot more of it than I did before. But I've never gone this far before, even though I've tried and failed. Somebody, did you have a question?
You said advertising is probably your main source of revenue. Who would be the advertisers?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a main source. It'll gradually become less of a source, to a degree at least, once the database is available in the marketplace, because that's a B2B concern, is not about advertising, but in-app advertising, so that appeals, advertisers who want to appeal to that particular demographic that we talked about, mostly, 40 to 54-year-olds, male and female, relatively, with some money and some time on their hands. So it could be restaurants from within the app that are trying to capture listings, or it could be, any product or service that wants to appeal to that age group. Over time, we'll probably refine that less on us and make it less about us putting the app into the store and just running advertising on it and seeing what happens, and more into actual partnerships where we won't be opening that up to anyone. Maybe we'll be looking for example, a liquor company that wants to appeal, that wants to sell to that group. Did that answer your? Okay. Any other? Oh.
So, can I ask what, I guess, your revenue projections are? Like, how much are you charging each restaurant? Is that based on the size of the restaurant? If they're a franchise, is that, what are your projection streams for the next year?
That's something that we're working on, and the strategy will really inform those, so I'm not really comfortable talking long-term numbers. We're looking at 5 years, and so what we're looking at is what we can do in that 6-month, 18-month, versus, but I am comfortable saying that it's going to change a lot because of the in-app advertising sort of giving way to, say, for example, what we're doing with the database. But as far as the gold memberships are concerned, it's $2.99 per quarter per location. So that's, a comparatively low amount of money when you look at something like OpenTable. Now, it doesn't have the functionality and the capabilities of OpenTable in terms of a point of sale system or anything like that. So, but it's enough. It's where we're going to start. It may change after we've gotten everything beta tested and we've been launched for about, I'd say, 3 to 6 months.
So can I have a follow-up question?
Sure.
As an online revenue stream, what payment processing are you using? Is it PayPal? Is it an outside credit card?
We have a payment gateway that we're integrating, and I don't know if we're going to stick with the one we're using now because they have not had the most awesome tech support, and so I hate to name them in case, but we have several options for payment gateways, and that's what we're going to use, yeah. So that's being integrated. It does require some specialized coding, but that's part of it, yeah.
Part of your model is the freemium.
Yes.
Start free and then you get to a premium. Are there other freemium models that you like and are following after?
Well, it's free for the members, and I think most apps, from what I've read and the business plans I've looked at, a lot of them start out as being free models because they don't. There's not another option, but the way I look at it with Just Happy Hours is I want it to be free for everybody, because my model for that is actually Google. Google looks at what is most beneficial to the user, and their entire business model can be built around that. All their selling models, all their advertising models can be built around that. And so the users' free use and enjoyment of the app is the paramount concern, and all the rest is geared around that.
Yeah. Have you thought about how you're going to get users? And have you thought if you're going to be doing any cross-marketing? I mean, you have such a tight demographic, which, again, if there are competitors out there, but not for that demographic, a dating app is really great. thought of any associated apps who may want to purchase you, again, like a dating app?
Yeah, well, we're staying away from the dating app model. And the reason is because the happy hour has been successful because we don't encourage dating. We don't encourage networking about your business. You're there to hang out, have a drink and a nice meal with some nice people, chat, but down the road, you see them several times, maybe you'll become friends, maybe you'll do something like go to the movies together, whatever. We're not trying to control it, but we are trying to create a safe place. So the culture of it doesn't really lend itself to being a dating app. So, but yes, there are partnerships and
Associating with a dating app.
yeah, that would probably not be the direction we'd head in. Partnerships, maybe, but not probably as with dating apps. Yeah, but, yeah.
Hey, so how did restaurant, or i.e., people are kind of like addicts, so once they use their app a couple months and then they find bars that they really like, with friends they really like, what's stopping from not using the app anymore? Because they've already got dialed up it. And it seems they're going to be knowledge based on the more people who are actively using the app. And if they drop off, then how do you keep them on?
Well, so I mean, that's the case. That's something that is built into the business model. Any app has a certain amount of people who you approach to download it. Then you have the cost of them actually downloading, but then you have another cost of some of them abandoning it. And so that cost is built into our marketing plan. It's part of our business plan. But, so the point system is one way to hopefully encourage them to continue using the app because they're earning points towards gift cards. But it is true that somebody, for example, could get on a dating app at the same time, meet the love of their life, and abandon the happy hour app. I mean, we realize that's going to happen. But in terms of, encouraging people to continue using it, we have I've been running my group for a year. We have a lot of people who come back because being in transition in your life takes a long time. Most people can always use new friends, especially if they're away from, family and they've grown away from friend groups that they used to have, and those are the people that continue using it. So we're not expecting everybody 100% like that. We're not writing in for 100% adoption and utilization in our business plan because that wouldn't work financially. Yes.
Continue with that thought. If you're trying to convince me to come the first one, not second or fourth generation,
Sure.
why would I want to do it?
Well, most people come out because because they're lonely. They're not, this isn't for somebody that's like, I have everything I want in my life. And, they come out because a lot of times they're new to the area. A lot of times, like I said, something in their life has shifted, a divorce, a breakup, or they have, they're at that stage where they're looking for something new. I think a lot of it is the same reasons that people decide to take a painting class or go church shopping. I mean, they're in a transition in their lives and they want something that is more fulfilling. They need that sense of community. So that's who it usually appeals to. We're done.
When it comes to promoting that app, one of the things you may want to consider is more like a chamber of commerce's, visitor centers in cities.
Yes.
And restaurant associations, and providing your tickets for them. Like I see visitors coming in town, going, we're out in Dallas, going on.
Yes.
And they can help push a message about, hey, go to this app, what's going on, what's best suits you. It can be a great way to get a lot of people at one meeting in one setting.
Yes, people traveling for business or pleasure is another one of the secondary markets. I just learned in these presentations not to go through all my markets because I run out of time 2.5 minutes into it and they wouldn't understand the app. So yeah, but yes, thank you.
Awesome. So before our last question, the question that we always ask of our presenters is, what can the community do for you?
Okay, well, I'd love for you to go to JustHappyHours.com. The social media icons are right on the top of the page, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you're on there, I'd love for you to go. Love for you to sign up for the newsletter and keep informed. We do a drawing every month to give away a gift card for people to, stick with us on the mailing list as we go through the beta test process. And we're also looking for beta testers. So if you like being an adopter of new technology, you want to check it out, give us your feedback, we'd love to have you sign up to be a beta tester.
Awesome. Thank you.